So, if anyone who's familiar with my recordings have seen the title of this video, you're probably thinking, what the hell is he talking about? Well, I feel I have to make this, and I say that because I feel just personally like I have a point to get across, and I'm kind of adding my 2 cents into a very ugly bucket right now, but I feel like everyone who has an opinion needs to speak it in order to make this seem like there's any sort of sanity. It's not well known, I don't talk about it a lot, that I'm a fan of Dragon Ball. I am, obviously, by the title, you can probably think I am. I watched the entire Dragon Ball series. I watched the entire original Funimation dub of DBZ. I watched GT. Not a big fan of GT, but whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of Super. Um, I kind of only watched it here and there when someone posted like their reaction on YouTube, kind of saying like, okay, what stupid crap has Toei come up with today for Goku to magically fix because he always fixes it and it's kind of boring. Um, and I've seen all the old DBZ films. I didn't see any of the old Dragon Ball films, but I am a self-admitted Broly tard. I liked the original rendition of the character. I fully admit to the fact that he has a really bad background. And if you're not a fan of Dragon Ball, you're probably going to be very lost in this, but I'm going to try and keep it as to the point as possible. Um, the original Broly was not a very well executed character, but he was fun for the what he was, which was just a psychotic fucking meathead killer dude. All right, we got that out of the way. Like I said, not the biggest fan of Super, but then when I heard what the next film was going to be, and it was going to have my hulking beef stick here be part of the quote unquote mainline series. That's what people want to call it because people hate the word canon now for some reason in Star Wars and Dragon Ball. Personally, if you hate the word canon, don't come after me. Come after the companies who want there to be a canon because guess what? There's a canon. So, Dragon Ball Super Broly is canon, and I went and saw it, and I loved the movie. If you want my quick recommendation, watch the movie. It's great. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I would watch it again and again if I could, but it's not available for me to buy yet, and I will be buying it. Um, so you all can probably guess where I'm going with this if you're in any way kept up with the anime community. There's a lot of ugly, just nastiness going on online, and this is the internet. We all know the internet's an ugly fucking place. I am I work or I'm going to be working in IT and I will be specialized in industrial control systems and networking management. And I only say that because I stick generally when it comes to anything dealing with computers, I'm dealing with setting them up, operating systems. Sometimes I deal with BIOS. I haven't touched anything with the hardware yet. Um, just dealing with how you set up a network, whose router you're using, what's edge, blah blah blah. It's just a lot of like internal management of how computers operate. So I'm not really a social media person. Obviously, if you have seen my lackluster upload times here, which will be improving here soon, and I will make a statement about that at another time, but this is not the place. Um, I don't keep up. I have a Facebook, and it's just there for memes, like posting memes for friends to see. Don't have Twitter. Don't have Instagram. Ugh. Don't have Tumblr. Don't have any of that stuff. I might have played around with them way back in the day, but if I have, I've either forgotten about them or they've been lost to the ether of the internet. Um, I think I had a Tumblr once, and then I was just like, yeah, this is not for me. Um, but the voice of Broly, who has been the voice of Broly since Dragon Ball Z days, the movies where he was involved, because if you haven't been able to tell, he wasn't canon because he was part of the films, which have never been considered canon. The Super film is part of that canon, and I'm using the word canon because companies use the word canon. Fuck you. Um, so Broly in the new film was also voiced by Vic Mignogna, who is the voice actor. I probably didn't mention him until now. Um, I don't really care about Vic. Like, I'm not. When I get onto a bandwagon or a fandom, I don't necessarily join a fandom because I enjoy the certain actor or actress or voice actor or voice actress. If James Earl Jones couldn't come back to play Darth Vader in a film that I thought was worth me watching, I wouldn't be that sad about it because it would still be the character of Darth Vader. So the fact that news has come out recently that Vic has been kicked out of Funimation and will no longer be voicing Broly does not make me dislike the Broly character. I will always support the Broly character because I enjoy his newest rendition way more than the old rendition. I am a little concerned who they will get to voice him because if he doesn't have the proper voice, it will diminish the character slightly because that's just, it's just how you are as a fan. If you got a new guy to play Darth Vader and the new guy had a very high squeaky voice, that would make you go, okay, this is not at all what I imagine Darth Vader sounding like. That's the only thing I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the character not being the character. I'm worried how the character will be presented. And if anything else, I may have to just switch over to the subbed view of Dragon Ball at this point because Bin Shimada has always been a good Broly, and if the English VA sucks ass, then well, subbed it is, I guess. Besides the point. Um, I am not, and there have been people on my in my comment section who have taken my attacks against Star Wars, which there are many of them. I'm an open nerd. They have seen me as having like right wing leanings or conservative leanings, and I don't want to make this political. If you make it political, that's your own goddamn fault. I'm not talking about politics here up until this point. I am, in fact, in the real world, a liberal minded person. I believe in liberal social and liberal economic values for the country, and I have several ideals that I'm a little conservative on because you know what? I'm a normal human being. I have things I'm mostly one way, but a few things I'm another way. I am a very die-hard economic liberal at the very least. Socially, I might be a little more social conservative. I won't tell you who the fuck I vote for. I'm not going to go that far, but I will say that there is a problem in the perception of politicizing what has been coming out. And what's been coming out, for those of you who are in the know, you don't need me to tell you, but for those of you who don't, Vic Mignogna, the voice of Broly, and I probably should have said this in the beginning, Broly is probably one of my favorite characters in all of Dragon Ball. He's stupid in his original rendition. I still love the character. I play with him in all the video games. I wanted to see all of his movies over and over again because it was just fun. The new Broly, I love his character even more. So to have this happen to this voice actor of this character who I really enjoy felt like I had to be engaged in it because it had to deal with something that I had investment in, even if the investment was only at the character and not with the voice actor. So I've been keeping this in for a while, and it's just gotten to the point where I feel like I need to say something, just as a fan of a character who this voice actor who has voiced him. Now he won't be voicing him anymore, so now I'm kind of lost. The politicization of what's been going on, and what's been going on, I'm very scatterbrained, I'm sorry. Vic Mignon has been accused of sexual misconduct, inappropriate behavior at conventions, and most recently, inappropriate behavior with fellow voice actors. I am, as a liberally minded person, open to hearing anyone who claims to have been sexually assaulted or had any sort of sexual misconduct happen to them. I have two family members who have had far worse things happen to them that have been so far claimed. Um, and I, being around them, having friends who have been assaulted in far worse ways than have been claimed Vic Mignogna has so far. So far. Check the date. I am recording this on the 6th of February. If some serious shit comes out later, this was before then. If some serious shit is proven at a later point, this was before then, and I will have likely changed my mind. But I feel that it's very unnatural for anyone to have to claim to be politically one way or another in order to support people who have had sexual misconduct or assault happened to them. It almost feels like, oh, you believe someone who's been sexually assaulted, well, then you must be a liberal. Or you don't believe them, you must be a conservative. And that's just not true, and it shouldn't be true. If you are a conservative, if you're a political conservative, then yes, you should believe someone's accusations up until a point. And this is where I'm going to come in and make my stance. I am all for hearing anyone who says they have been sexually assaulted or sexual misconduct has happened to them. I am fully open to that, and you will never hear me say, well, then you must be a liar. What you will hear me say is, okay, this happened to you. I believe you, but if you don't take any sort of action, then nothing will change. And if you don't take any sort of action so that someone of a investigatory body can make the determination and take action on your account for justice, then justice won't be served. And if you won't take that step, then what's holding you back? Now, there are two prominent things that could hold someone back from making any sort of legal case. One, they're afraid, and that happens a lot with even people who aren't famous. You get sexually assaulted or misconduct happens to you at your workplace, and it's your boss or someone who's in a supervisory position. So you don't say anything, or you just let it go the first couple times it happens, and then it progresses from there. Or it's a family member and you can't say anything because it's your dad or something, and it's really gross shit. Or two, it didn't happen. And I am not saying that this shit didn't happen. What I'm saying is that as someone who feels like I've been put into the basket of having to believe the victims in their statements and their claims at 100% validity without any sort of evidence, I feel like I must say this, is that I don't believe you without absolute validity. What is it George Bush said about the post-Iraq investigations of, disarming Saddam Hussein was trust but verify? That's me. I trust but verify. If you come to me and say, hey man, this guy, he raped me, I trust you. I believe you. Let's go and make sure that it's verified. And I feel like, again, as someone who's not even like a big Vic Mignogna fan, that this thing has completely derailed the entire like Dragon Ball community, and not even just that, but they've become more prominent in the last like 3 days or so because of just stuff that's been happening. Once again, we're taking something that should be a universal concept of allegations, potential evidence of a crime, reports of crimes, and we have politicized it. And I can't stand it when that happens. Who needs this to be a political debate? Why are we leaning one way or to another? Oh, if you believe them, then you must be some sort of social justice warrior, and if you don't believe them, then you're a Nazi homophobe. Some of the things that have come out against Vic, I don't give a fuck about, because those are just people who have serious fucking problems, or people who should not be involved in this at all. There is a certain YouTuber who has pissed me off because of her handling of this. I'm not going to name her name. If you know who she is, I really hope you don't name her name, but I can't stop you, so go ahead. You worked, this YouTuber, alongside a person who has more valid claims of rape and sexual assault on him, who killed himself, who you considered a very close friend, and you didn't suspect anything. You didn't hear anything. You didn't see anything. Okay, fine. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you're just that fucking inept and that you didn't hear anything or see any sort of behavior with this friend of yours who was, by all intents and purposes, and by statements made after his death, a full-blown rapist. So then, you didn't see all that, but now somehow you're supposed to be the arbiter of all people who have had any sort of sexual misconduct happen to them. Why are you, and this goes to a broader statement, why is anyone shoving their head into something that should not involve anyone in the YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram community at all? Recently, as of today, Vic was removed from Funimation, and things have come out from the voice actress of Bulma that in some way she was also a victim of Vic's activities. Fine. I fully hear you. I fully appreciate it. And you know what? I believe you. But you know, I want there to be more than just accusations. And to people who attack people who want that, what country do you think you live in? We live in a country where people are innocent until proven guilty, as much as we may think that sucks ass. And I do. Without it, we would have nothing but mob rule. Mob rule got us the Salem witch trials. Emmett Till was beaten to death because a woman at a grocery store claimed that she was raped by a black man, and it came out later that she was raped by, I think, a white man who she worked with. But a mob went out and found the nearest black guy they could, a boy. I think he was only 16 years old or something, and they beat him bloody and raw. And it only came out later that she lied just because she couldn't be bothered. She couldn't fathom stating who it actually was. And you know what? I'm not attacking her for being sexually assaulted, but I am attacking her for perpetuating what was a lie. And people forget that. So do I think that if you have 100 people claim that someone sexually if someone sexually assaulted them, do I disbelieve all of them? No. In fact, I would give every single one of them the benefit of the doubt unless their accusation is ridiculous. Like people who are mad at Vic because he didn't sign Yahweh. Like, fuck you. I don't. If a guy doesn't like Yahweh, he doesn't like Yahweh. I'm sorry. If a guy doesn't like Yuri, he doesn't like Yuri. If a guy doesn't want to sign hentai, he doesn't have to sign hentai. Fuck you. Get over it. If a guy is against gay marriage, and he may very well be, Vic Mignogna may very well be in person an asshole. And you know what? You have to deal with that all the time. As I'm going through school right now, I'm working a retail job. Do you know how many times I have to deal with a fucking asshole who is shopping for his stupid little knickknacks and trinkets? But then I can go to his family and go, oh, he's the nicest person around. Not to me. Everyone deals with people differently. Everyone has different experiences. So, do I take your claim of him being an asshole as anything? No. If the furthest thing you're gonna claim to me is that the guy was a prick to you, oh well. I'm sorry, he was a prick to you. I deal with 1,000 pricks a fucking day, and I don't get any sort of recompense or recourse on that. Fuck you. We live in a world where everyone is an asshole. Everyone's an asshole. Everyone is out for themselves. Don't fucking lie to me and act like you're fucking Mother Teresa. Give me a break. Why do you think there are so selectively chosen saints in the Catholic Church? Because not everyone's a fucking saint. There are very few of them out there. So, yeah, if your claim is that Vic was an asshole to you, grow the fuck up. You live in a world where there's going to be lots of assholes to you. If you liked him and you found out he was a prick to you, grow the fuck up. He's a prick. Oh well. The people who had claimed that he touched them in ways that made them uncomfortable. I believe you. Did he make you uncomfortable? Okay. What was the extent of the discomfort? Did he hug you? Okay. Was it unintentional? And I only ask that because as someone who works retail, again, I get creeped on. You would not believe. I get creeped on, and the amount of creeped on I get is not even near the amount of creeped on my fellow coworkers who are female get. So I know that is disproportionately slanted towards women. But I want to know what is the genuine creep and what is the unintentional creep, because that happens all the time too. People act like if you say that you're somehow enabling people to be molesters or rapists. No. I'm saying that there are people out there who are touchy-feely and you don't want them to fucking touch you. I have friends who tried to touch me and hug me and, be close to me, and I'm like, you don't understand. I am an antisocial person. I don't want you to touch me, but I don't vocalize it because it would make me seem like an asshole. If you didn't vocalize, you didn't want to be touched, and you were touched in a very, what would you say, benign fashion, then I'm sorry. As someone who also does not like to be touched, even by my best friends, I even feel uncomfortable being hugged by my family members. That's how antisocial and uh, disconnected from people I am. I'm sorry if you felt that way, but you really should have said, "Hey, I don't like to be touched." You can. I have managed to tell people I don't want to be touched in very non-aggressive, non-assholeish ways of just going, not today." You can play it off that way. You don't have to take it. So if that's the extent of what happened to you, again, sorry, get over it. Moving on to the more serious claims now. Um, People who have claimed that he has severely sexually assaulted them, that he has touched them inappropriately, and I mean like inappropriately touched them, made aggressive sexual statements, um, insinuations, further touching that I don't really want to go into because it makes me uncomfortable. You're the type of people who I say trust but verify. And you know what? If we've gotten to the point where you did speak out and you did try to make things known, and then your company or corporation, Funimation, said, "Yeah, we'll deal with it," and then nothing happened, um, fine. Then you know what? That company needs to have some recompense come its way too. You can't all just fall on the one asshole. If the company itself was protecting someone who they felt or they had information for was a known sexual predator, then fuck you, Funimation, you philanderous piece of shit. Uh, no one seems to be aggressively attacking the company that was defending a sexual predator. They're all going after a guy who so far has only had heaps of and mounds of allegations pointed towards him. And if they turn out to be true, then fuck you too. To the people who worked alongside him, and what's her name? Monica Rial, I think, yeah, is the voice of Bulma. Monica, if she knew about things and she had things happen to her and she went to the company, then I don't blame her for keeping quiet about it and the company didn't do jack shit. I do blame the other VAs around her who want to jump on the bandwagon and act like they did so much fucking things. It's it's like Harvey Weinstein with Hollywood. Everyone knew this guy was a sexual predator, but they didn't do jack fucking shit. And then once things get hot and things come out and he's torn down and removed from all of his companies and corporations and he is excised from the Hollywood inner circles, then everyone wants to be a saint and talk about how, oh, I always knew that he was a disgusting perv. Oh, did you now? And you didn't say anything? No, because I didn't want to. Well, then guess what? You are not a moral fucking warrior. You are nothing more than a fucking crust on the bottom of the dumpster. You're not actually in the dumpster with him, but you certainly are around the dumpster around him. So, Chris Sabat, Sean Schemmel, you know, Eric Vale, Ian Sinclair, uh, Chuck Heber, if you knew about any of this and you didn't do anything proactive besides keeping your mouth shut because you worked for Funimation, then you are just as culpable. I'm sorry, but you should have done more. And if you didn't do more and you're only now coming out because it's trendy to get him out now before he makes the entire company look bad, guess what? The company already looks fucking bad and you all look incompetent. Incompetent to the nth degree, might I say. So what is the point of all this? The point in all this is I trust everyone who says that they have had some serious violations happen to them, but I want some verification now. If this only goes as far as getting the guy fired, then this feels like a complete and utter waste of fucking time. Because the company itself could have fired him after the allegations came out and saved everyone years of having to work with him. But now that we have Twitter, the epitome of a court of law and a court of public opinion, that apparently is the hill upon which we all must seek to climb. And if, quite frankly, if this is Twitter, then I thank God that I am nowhere near that disgusting trash heap of socialization, if that's even what you want to call it. What I am trying to get across is that just because I am a liberally minded person who understands that you must treat people who have suffered sexual assault with some level of uh, ease and comfort and um, without assaulting them verbally or mentally, does not mean that I immediately think that you are 100% telling the truth. I'm just being honest. Um, I want there to be some evidence that, first of all, you told the company and that the company just outright ignored you or protected the person. I want there to be corroborating statements, and not just by your friends and not just by your family. There needs to be corroborating evidence from people who are around you, who maybe know you but don't really have much to gain out of this. And this does not include fans at a fucking event. This does not include your best friends or your family members because they are all biased towards believing you. We may be far gone past the point where Vic can be prosecuted in a court of law for some of the things that he's done. But that does not mean that you can't file some sort of civil case, civil action, civil suits, and prove him to be guilty in a court of law. And to act like you can't is just complete incompetence and lack of knowledge of the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system may be a flawed piece of shit sometimes, but it's the only fucking thing we have. If we didn't have it, then what would we have? Nothing. We'd have mob rule and mob mentality. And like I said, until I have something better than mob mentality, the same mob mentality that got me Emmett Till in the Salem witch trials, I don't fucking care. There needs to be some semblance of sanity and process. You know why they call it due process? Is because it's an ugly, long, noxious process to get to the end goal. And to everyone who's like, well, we should just skip that, you are not judge, jury, and executioner. So, if I put a man in front of you and told you, without giving you any evidence beyond my word of mouth, that he had committed some sort of heinous crime and put a gun in your hand and told you to shoot him, would you shoot him? And I want you to really think about that. Maybe I'm not asking you to shoot him. Maybe I'm asking you to beat him up. And then it came out years later that I lied to you. Would you feel bad about that? Would you own up to the fact that you had done something wrong? I don't know. I'm not asking you to be a moral warrior. I'm asking you to think about it. And I'm asking everyone in this situation to make the right call now that it's all coming out and to instigate some sort of process that can allow me to trust you and have some form of verification. Because unless I have that verification, then I am just one voice amongst a mob, and I refuse to be one voice amongst a mob of people who are just so venomously following a trend right now. Again, if you tell me that something's happened to you, I fully trust you that it happened, but I want some goddamn verification that it happened, and I want some goddamn justice to be had that does not rely on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And to all the voice actors who knew about this and didn't do anything, if it comes out to be true, and it may very well be true. As someone who doesn't give a shit about Vic Mignogna, fuck you. Because you could have done something, but you didn't. You want to know why you didn't do anything? Because you wanted to keep your job. And you know what? That doesn't make you a fucking social warrior. That makes you a hypocrite. To all the women who may have had something happen to them, and who went to an authority to say something happened to them, I'm sorry that this is all having to come out this way. And to Funimation, fuck you. If you knew about this, you didn't do anything. And to Vic, if you did anything, fuck you. But until I have the proof that all this happened, fuck all of you. That all being said, this is kind of a one-off thing. I don't really talk about Dragon Ball all that much. And this is not even really having to do with any of that. This is stupid. The moral hypocrisy of this country astounds me. Because we all want to get on the bandwagon about how, oh, Vic Mignogna is this kind of crazy sexual predator that's been running around forever, and Harvey Weinstein is this crazy sexual predator that's been running around forever. James Gunn made a bunch of stupid statements on Twitter that he apologized for and then got fired after a year after. Is there any proof that he actually raped anyone? Is there any proof that he committed a crime against a child? No? Well, then get the fuck off your moral high ground. Guess what? The President of the United States has been accused of sexual misconduct and nothing's been done against him. Nothing. Where's the moral outrage? Oh, is it there? But it's not doing anything? Well, I'm sorry then if we're going to go after sexual predators on such a small scale, but let those who are on a high scale go until years after the fact and letting them continue the cycle of assault, then that's insanity. We're living in a world where up is down because if you're going to go after one, you have to go after all. I'm done with the moral hypocrisy of this entire sexual debate. Human sexuality on as people who have known me for a while disgusts me overall because it's just profoundly selfish. But the fact that we have to have a specific criminality and a specific criminal focus on it just disgusts me even more. And the fact that that's clearly a problem with people and we don't address it in the right way, it annoys the fuck out of me. And if people go through the process and the right process and things still don't get done, and the people who didn't allow the process to go through, who didn't take the right course of action, fuck you especially, because you are part of the problem. And in fact, you are the main instigators of the problem because you allowed the cycle to continue. So that includes Funimation, that includes all the male voice actors and all the men around Vic who he primarily seems to have had a thing for women. So all the men around him who didn't do anything, fuck you. To all the women around him who didn't have any sexual assault happen to them and didn't do anything, fuck you. And to all the bandwagoners of both sides of the argument, fuck you too. This whole thing needs to be settled, and I don't know what the solution is. All I know is that I trust that maybe he's a prick. Maybe he's a sexual predator. I trust that maybe he is. I am more than willing to accept that he is. But I want something to be more than just hearsay. I want something more than just words. I want something more than a hashtag on Twitter. And if you can't understand why I want that, I want you to go and look up all the falsely accused people who have been robbed of decades of their lives, who have been beaten to death for something that they did not do, who have been hung by a jury of their peers for something that is insane, such as the devil possessed me, or the devil possessed them, and he's a witch, or she's a witch. People who didn't do jack shit, and who were killed or robbed of years of their lives. That is why I want some goddamn verification. That being said, I am done with this whole fucking thing. Peace out.